Hey there! So today we have another review. This is a beer courtesy of Matt. Thank you so much. His family, I believe, is up in New Jersey, and he picked up this bottle for me. This is not the first time he's given me a delicious Kane bottle. So back in my peak of going to Extreme Beer Festival in Boston and trading for beers and going to bottle shares, Kane, in my opinion, had one of the best barrel programs in the country, and arguably one of the most underrated barrel aged stouts in the country. And let's check them out. So this is from Kane. Kane is out of Ocean, New Jersey, one of the, I think better known craft breweries in New Jersey. Washed Ashore. This is a 13.7 blend of barrel aged milk, porters, and stouts, aged in Heaven Hill, Old Fitzgerald, and Wild Turkey 10-year Russell's Reserve bourbon barrels, conditioned on toasted coconut and cacao nibs from Ghana and Uganda. If every bottle of beer could be so succinct and descriptive, it'd be amazing. But sometimes you read a full paragraph and you get one sentence of actual ingredients or descriptors about the beer. But this is you got the whole to do. This is a blend of a bunch of their beers, high ABV, specialty picked Heaven Hill and Wild Turkey barrels, and then you got some cocoa nib and some coconut in here. And that is stupid. That is one of the darkest beers I poured out in a minute. I want to say the last beer that poured out that dark was maybe from Peter from the Master of Hoppets, who owns a brewery now. So, but that is stupid dark. So, excuse me. Actually, weirdly enough, it doesn't even have that oil sheen thing that comes from coconut. Coconut, surprisingly, or not surprisingly, is very oily. So oily sometimes just leaves this thing that sticks on the glass, and the head retention is terrible. You can see bubbles. It's still there. I don't see an oily slick to it, but yeah. That's silly. Big chocolate notes. Cacao nibs definitely coming through. But it's just big. It's big. And it's not big in a bad way. Sometimes you just smell the hotness of bourbon, and it just it smells like you got a really tasty stout and you just ruined my beer by throwing a bunch of bourbon in it. This is integrated, so it's got this the legs on this thing. They're just sitting on this guy. But it's just it smells like a great barrel aged imperial stout with all that bourbon vanilla, but it's just bold. It's a big barrel presence. It's got oak and wood and tannin and heat and bourbon. It's wake up. There's just bourbon. There's bourbon barrel aged stout. Underneath there's chocolate espresso, all that pretty malt stuff, but maybe a little coconut. But it really got this dry, dusty cacao nib, chocolatey thing going on. Cheers. Yeah, that's a bold beer. That is a bold beer. Holy moly. I would have guessed this beer is 16%. Very big. It's just a lot of impact of flavor. It is big, rich, thick. The theme of this barrel is just these barrels are showing. It's just vanilla, wood, tannin, bourbon. What's up? And underneath is sweet. It's a lot of chocolate box, what you get for your wife on Valentine's Day. Just fancy chocolate for days. And then finally in the mid palate, you finally get this really light reprieve of this kind of sweet coconut vibe that's really tasty. Not too cloying of a beer, but very cloying. It seems cloying up front, but then doesn't really last on the back end because you get this echoing alcohol, whiskey, and bourbon that just go zoom, dry you out, boy. Obviously high gravity, high finishing gravity, sticky mouthfeel. It's a big, bold beer. This is a bourbon barrel aged pastry stout. For me, a little too sweet. It is a very sweet beer. For the pastry boys that like bourbon barrel aged pastry stouts, A+. And I actually do sort of like those beers. For me, I do not like sweets at all in my life. You will not see me eating desserts. Ice cream, no thank you. Cake, birthday, sorry, I love you. Happy birthday. I will not eat your cake. But come to pastry stouts and bourbon county and sweeter beers and Mexican mole stouts or whatever. It's sweet, high gravity, sticky. I'll drink it. I actually like those beers. Weird, because I guess that's just like beer. But this beer is a little much. It is really intense. Oh my God. Up front, it is just so much cocoa. it's a little too much cocoa. Obviously I'm imbibing this, but in my world, just taking those few sips, I should look like I just have chocolate all over my mouth. Shout out to Matilda, that movie where they made the kid eat all the chocolate cake. It just has so much chocolate, ganache, German. I don't even eat desserts. I don't even know what they're called. German forest cake and devil's food cake, whatever, man. Just all that chocolatey, indulgent richness, and your mouth just like, and it's all in my palate, obviously, but it just feels like it's all over my lips and my everywhere. It's very decadent. And then the coconut really is, I prefer that flavor, but the chocolate's just so intense. I personally very much like beers that show off chocolate flavor with the malt. But obviously here you throw in a bunch of cocoa nib, and it's very dominant. It's about that first third palate. It's just like I really didn't need that extra boost of chocolate. Like I already have the coffee and espresso and chocolate flavors from the underlying malt profile. And I really like that coconut in the middle. And I like that finishing whiskey character. But yeah, if you're into the sweet, sticky, and you like chocolate, A+ for you. This is a 95. I'm just thinking a few points because as someone who likes sweet beer, who's okay with pastry stouts, and highly prefers barrel-aged pastry stouts, and the barrel on this is actually very bold and very delicious. I just can't get past that first third palate where it's just like, hey man, here's here's a box of chocolates, and your mouth's just like, this is sort of like what the expression I get, like it's just like, oh my god. The barrel's so strong, it's just like fighting away with that chocolate. Yeah. All right, I'll bump it up to 96. It's absolutely delicious, but it's a very bold beer. Thank you so much, Matt. This is delicious. Cheers later.